Hello friends. Welcome to the Phoenix What If. How are you all? So in this video, we will see what if Ichigo fell in love with Rias and became overpowered. But before we start, if you want more amazing stuff like this, then be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Also if possible share this vid. Orihime was crying while trying to save and healing Ichigo that was wounded and dead-ish with his chest area has a hole on it that was pierced by Grimmjow Jigerjax the Ta Espada of Aizen's but she just sitting while waiting to Orihime healing the dead Ichigo Kurosaki. Please Ichigo-kun, please come back. Orihime while try to stop her sob while Nnoitra try to stop her crying.
Oi Orihime, when he gonna wake up? It almost like an hour. Grimmjow going to her through her hair then sigh. I think I went overboard. While smirking on her face that said, what a shame.
Ichigo mindscapes. What the hell just happened? Ichigo thought while rubbing and message his temple on beside his eye. Damn, why my body feels so cold. It feels that I'm dead or something. He tried to stand up on his feet but then falling. But he was caught by a person, not just a person, it was his Zanpakuto and his hollow but in a girl form.
Thanks Zangetsu, and also thank you Shiro-chan. While give the girls a very warm heart smile that make them blush. Then, Shiro was curious, how did Ichigo know her even she turned into a woman? Ichigo, how did you know that I was your hollow? Zangetsu also curious, how did Ichigo knows this? Yeah Ichigo, how did you know? They then but down Ichigo and try to comfortable him while straight him upwards. Well, I know you guys before you know me. He then chuckled darkly. Then suddenly Ichigo has 9 tails like cat behind his back on his tailbone and also has a cat ear on his head. But the most shock to the girls was his eyes. He has the same hollow eyes but has a purple pupil with black iris on his left, and on his right it was red blood iris but has the hollow that was yellow pupil. Then they saw his 16 wings coming from his back, 8 on each side with a golden color on the left while on the right is dark red color. Ichigo then surrounded by a red dark energy that make the girls shiver and shudder by this, but they were woot in excitement and had a wide grins. Well, that's feels good and I'm back baby. They shuddered hearing his smooth, low seductive tone so right to him. Please Lord let him take me. They have the same thought and then they trail his body from top to bottom but then they stuck at his 20 abs of steel that was covered by sweat. Just take me right now and right here. Like what you see Shiro-hime, Zangetsu-hime. They were blush madly by the word, Heim. He then kiss on their forehead and then he snapped his finger. Shiro was covered by a new white hakama on her back as said, Hollow Queen, in kanji, while Zangetsu covered by black hakama and on her back read, Queen of Getsu. They blush and then kiss on his cheek to say thanks.
Arigato Ichigo-sama, they said at the same time. But then Ichigo snapped his finger again but it changed the mindscape and they now was at Ichigo's inner world. They were startled when Ichigo tapped their shoulder and tried to calm down. I'm sorry to startled you guys. The girls just shook their heads and Ichigo continue, they hear. Ichigo said this and on cue Shiro and Zangetsu see all of the 13 Gote Zanpakuto also Aizen's Zanpakutos, but to more surprise it was all girls with huge burst on them.
It's good to see you back Ichikoi. It was Soda no Shirayuki said with Bo and the rest of the girls. She then walk up to Ichigo then kiss him on the cheek. The rest of the girls was jealous and also Shiro and Zangetsu. Then the rest of the girls kiss him on the cheeks but for Shiro and Zangetsu didn't. They were hesitated and tried to hold back their jealousy on them. Somebody is jealous and Ichigo then went to them and kiss on the lips. They were startled and tried to stop Ichigo but failed because they could taste the sweetness on Ichigo's lips and it tastes like strawberry but more sweet. Let me introduce, this is my Zanpakutos. Also there is one more but she just don't like people. She just shy. We are not jealous, okay king or whatever you wanna call. We not jealous about they kiss you and also you know us. How that's possible? Shiro tried to protest but Ichigo just chuckle like Shiro but it was dark and evil then turn into laugh. Shiro shiver by this and shudder but she has the biggest grins ever on her face. Zangetsu have a sweat dropped and try to walk slowly to the groups but failed just before she could do. Shiro catch on her neck by the cloth.
What the hell are you doing Shiro, let me go. Zangetsu tried to protest so she just sigh of defeat.
Now back to business. Ichigo said with low tone on seriousness and all the girls give attention. They then smirk because it's time for a show. Girls, it's show time. Then Ichigo disappear from his inner world. Now that's Ichigo-sama is gone. Can somebody tell me how the Ichigo knows about us even before he gained Shinigami power? Also tell me why he has a nine tails on his back and a cat ear. Then a woman with a GG cup burst walked to them, but she has no Ritsu. My name is Satan. And I'm Ichigo's Fracción. Shiro and Zangsu jaw dropped and Satan explained how Ichigo know them even in their girl form and also how he did know them before gaining Shinigami powers.
XX with Orihime, Nalil and Grimo XX. Orihime still cry and Nell still try to comfort Orihime, while Grimmjow was bored so she was about to go outside to find a new prey or something to let her boredom to cool down.
But before she could do that, they feel an incredible pressure around them like breath underwater.
Orihime was struggled to breath and Grimmjow tried to find the source. When she did, her jaw dropped and tried to stand but failed miserably. So she just stand on the ground until the pressure is gone. Then the pressure was gone. Orihime and Nell was shocked to see Ichigo on his feet with his new looks. Not just any look but the eyes only with the red blood iris and yellow pupil like a hollow eyes on his right while on his left it was black iris like a hollow with a purple pupil.
Hello there Orihime Heim and Nelle Heim. It's good to see you guys are okay. Ichigo then give them eye smile on then and they were blush madly by this and the word, Heim. Ichigo what happened to your eyes? Nell said with curiosity also Orihime as well. Before Ichigo could answer, Grimmjow punched Ichigo on the face but when the impact hit, Ichigo didn't feel pain at all and but for Grimmjow, her knuckle was bruised. Man you tough, and also what happened to your eyes man? Grimmjow asked but she skipped a beat before her very eyes. She saw Ichigo like a master that want to be a servant and loyalty to him. But she then shook her head and the thoughts aside and tried to focus her fight. Well I was about to answer but you interrupted me. Ichigo then was about to punch Grimmjow back but then he heard a voice that made him chuckle.
Why didn't you said that your power were sealed by the Soul King Ichigo-sama? Ichigo then said, let's just said that, the Soul King thought that I was a threat after I gained my Shinigami power and he sealed it away from me for use it. Ichigo then chuckle in his thought and Shiro just blush. Just don't keep a secret from me and Zangetsu. We got explained by Satan and also she is hot by the way. Her burst is bigger any of us.
Oi Grimmjow I think it's better your resurrection in form right now so that I can handle you perfectly. Ichigo then smirked madly at Grimmjow. She was blush and her heartbeat was fast and she then clenched her chest to stop the fast heartbeat.
Okay, Pantera. Grimmjow then was in her resurrection form and then launched forward to strike Ichigo to his chest with her claw like panther. But Ichigo sidestepped and shun-PO'd away from her in the building, but for Grimmjow she was trough a wall and then she went to find Ichigo. Damn you Kurosaki, I'm gonna kill you bastard. Grimmjow then roared her way to Ichigo and tried to land a strike again but fail again and again and again.
After she strike Ichigo but fail over and over again, she was exhausted and panting heavily and was sweating. But for Ichigo he did not break a sweat and also did panting heavily but rather have a normal breathe. Is that you got Grimmjow Heim? Ichigo teased Grimmjow but she blushed by calling her Heim. She then had her down to hide her blush but Ichigo catch her hand to stop hide it. Grimmjow tried to protest but then, I see you are blushing Grimmjow Heim and I think that Orihime Heim and Nalil Heim would enjoy their company with you. Ichigo then kiss her on the cheek and she gained more blush like the tomato skin but redder.
Grimmjow then tried to strike Ichigo again but Ichigo back flipped and land on her feet. What on earth are you thinking? Try to seduce me with your antics with your seductive voice that suits you. Grimmjow then yelped from what she just said to her enemy. I didn't mean Lee like that. Oh okay it was misunderstanding. Grimmjow was struggling to keep her words together and try to convince Ichigo it's not like that. Ichigo just smirked and he then shun-PO'd away from her. Ichigo then was at the building with Orihime and Nell surprised to see Ichigo again and they thought that he would lose. But before they could ask how the fight was, Grimmjow burst and tried to strike Ichigo from the back, but Ichigo just sidestepped and Grimmjow went past him and the girls. Then she impacted to a wall. Orihime and Nell sweat dropped and jaw dropped but when they look at Ichigo, they see his shikai was torn off on his stomach area that uncovered his 20 abs of steel. They were drool and was in lust to see this. Like what you see Orihime Heim, Nalil Heim. Orihime and Nell snap from their daydreaming and they look Ichigo with lust in their eyes like Ichigo is their alpha. I want to be Ichigo alpha. Orihime then tried to kiss Ichigo but was held back by Nell.
No, I want to be Ichigo's alpha. Nell then tried to kiss Ichigo but was held by Orihime. Then they just stare each other like a rival and Ichigo could see an electric between the two. Then Grimmjow was out from the wall and was panting heavily and tried to catch her breath. Then what comes next was surprise even more to them, especially Ichigo. I want Ichigo to be my alpha, Grimmjow shouted to them, and then she embarrassed for what she just said. Ichigo then grins and Orihime and Nell was jealous to say at least, because not only they rival each other but they have another arrival but an Urkanar to say at least. Girls, calm down, I can take all of you, okay? Grimmjow Heim, are you sure about this? Ichigo questioned to Grimmjow and she only nods slowly while looked like an apologetic nod. Don't worry about the Shinigami and the rest of your friends. I will take them back for you and also for Nell as well. Ichigo then embrace her and she embrace back like her life depend on Ichigo, then she kiss on his cheek to say thanks, you're welcome. Orihime and Nelle was jealous and tried to hold back from it. Ichigo then let go the embrace, then walked to Orihime and Nell, and kiss in their lips so that they didn't left out from him. When he broke the kisses, Grimmjow went back her normal form but still has her long hair that fall like grace. Well, now it over, we can find your friend then, okay? Ichigo then jump out the building and followed by others. When they reached the bottom, Grimmjow was shook to see Nell in her child form. Nell, is that you? Nell then look at Grimmjow with a sad face. I was struck by Nnoitra. Yes. Nell was cut off by a scythe fly to Ichigo and Ichigo just dodged it barely. Huh, really Grimmjow, you just lost and surrendered just like that to a pathetic Shinigami. Then a slender-like man walk up to them while behind him is his Frazione as a girl while DD cup bursts that stand out from her clothes. She also has eye mask fragment just from her left eye with a green tattoo just in the middle of her forehead. Just shut up, will ya, Ichigo-sama, let me take care of this. Grimmjow was in bloodthirsty for a fight. But she was halted by Ichigo right in front of her. Nnoitra narrowed his eye too. No, I'll handle this while you get some rest from our little battle, okay Grimmjow Heim. Grimmjow blushed and just nodded to Ichigo and went to Orihime and Nell just a feet away from them. Nnoitra narrowed his eye to Grimmjow and said, when did you become a whore woman, and come on Grimmjow, let's play ya, at least I can enjoy some fight. Nnoitra said while lick his bottom for some fun. Ichigo was disgusted by this, so he just ready for some fun. But then suddenly there was a surge of pressure coming behind Ichigo and he know who it was. Nnoitra was shocked, whlie his eye wide open to for what to come. A pink of smoke surrounded Nell, and then when it went down a bit, there was a figure standing tall in its glory while wearing a green cloth that cover her upper body but her stomach area was uncover and also cover her lower part just above her thigh area. Her mask fragment also gotten bigger from her right temples. She also carrying a short Zanpakuto. She has the EE cup. Ichigo. Nell then went to Ichigo to give him hug that almost suffocate him when his face went green. Ichigo struggled to push away but Nell held her hug tightly. Nell, is that you? Nell, you gonna suffocate Ichigo-sama? Orihime was jealous because Nell hugged Ichigo with her EE cup burst onto his chest. Nell the look Ichigo that was green then let go of the hug and apologized to Nell, but Ichigo was okay with it and also glad that Nell returned her old form. Well, look we have here. The former Espada Trace Nalil II Odelschwenk. It's a pleasure to see you again. Nnoitra said with bloodthirsty that make you shiver up to your spine, but for Ichigo he was angry at Nnoitra because he knows something fishy about Nnoitra Gilga the fifth Espada. Ichigo-sama, let me fight him. I want him dead by my arm. Nell said while she take attack stance and want to kill him for what he did to her. But Nell was stopped by Ichigo, when he hold Nell hand and Nell turn her head to face Ichigo. But when she then smirk madly and back away for what to come for Nnoitra.
You will fight me, Nnoitra Gilga fifth Espada. But Ichigo crack his neck and knuckle for his plan.
Then he heard a word from his inner thought. Ichigo-sama, let me out and kill him right now right here. Tobium said bloodlust in hers words. Not now Tobium-heim. I don't want you to get hurt and also I don't want to disappoint Momo-heim to get hurt as well. Tobium blush and giggle by Ichigo calling her Tobium-heim and Momo-heim. Also I don't like one bit him. Let's see if this maggot can handle my toughest Hakuda then. Ichigo grin like his hollow girl and Shiro shiver and get wet in underneath her pants in Ichigo's inner world. If that you wish Ichigo-sama, then it will be. Tobium then vanished from Ichigo inner thoughts, then came three more Zanpakuto voice. Ichigo-sama, could you please let me out from this maggoter, because he getting on my nerve. It was Santa Tesla. Nnoitra Zanpakuto. Yeah, Ichigo-sama, let Tensa-chan out from that thrash and can live with us like others. Shiro said while agreeing to Tensa. I'll agree, both of them, please make it quick so that we can kill others Arcanar that is loyal to Aizen Teme. Zenitsu said with disgust on Aizen name. Just wait a moment, okay Tesla Heim. And also keep your pants up, okay? Tesla blushed madly, but just, thanks, Ichigo, that she is getting away from Nnoitra and was getting annoying. Also I want to test something on him, like a guinea pig or a rat lab.
Nnoitra, I'll give 5 minutes to try hit me. But if you fail I'm gonna rip your heart out. Ichigo with a venomous voice while he stare at Nnoitra with bored face. Ichigo then ready for Nnoitra attack and try to hold up.
Don't get why, kid. You just another Shinigami shithead. Then Nnoitra launch at Ichigo and try to punch, kick and some Sero firing. Then he sees his scythe and get it and try to slash him. He also try to surprise Ichigo from behind with his Sonito but fail. Nnoitra did not hit Ichigo and he also didn't panting heavily like he did. 2 minutes more, are you just tired? Ichigo said with mocking tone. He then went to Nnoitra with his physical speed, not his usual Sonito speed. Nnoitra was surprised and also others. Then Ichigo elbowed at Nnoitra's stomach and coughing blood, and followed by spin kick on his face that almost lost his 2 teeth. He then fire a Sero, but not any normal Sero. It was black with red color Sero. When he fired to Nnoitra and when the Sero hit it, they exploded like an atom bomb but 5 times more deadly. I think I went overboard. Ichigo then went to Nnoitra to see his dead body, at least he survived. Nnoitra also known as the Hierro King, but to Ichigo it was like a piece of paper. When he in front of the dust, Nnoitra then throw his scythe at Ichigo but he caught it with it 2 fingers in the middle. But then he saw a yellow Sero. Gran Rey Sero. Nnoitra shout as he was on his instinct like an animal on rage. He then launch again at Ichigo that was distracted by the Sero, but was surprised when Ichigo just flicked the Sero up the sky. Everyone saw this with awe and eyes wide like a CD. Note to me. Don't piss off Ichigo and try not to fire a Sero at him. Grimmjow then grin at Ichigo how he is so powerful. She then realized something of, Ichigo didn't fight but he was on something like he was watch Nnoitra moves and try to predict something on his move. She then continue at the battlefield to what happened next. Nnoitra, you have 10 seconds. Nnoitra tried to hit, slash everything he could muster an attack or a hit at Ichigo but didn't work and fail miserably. Time's up. Now it's my turn. Ichigo back flipped and land on his feet just a couple of feet away from Nnoitra. Then he leaned his hands in front of just then a blue light coming from his hands and at Nnoitra Zanpakuto's. No, it can be. Nnoitra watch in horror as his Zanpakuto was at Ichigo hands. Santa Teresa never betray me. He then launched at Ichigo but was kicked to the stomach by Ichigo. Then he used Teresa to slice Nnoitra torso that you could almost see his bone. Well, Teresa Heim did not like you wield her properly, so she came to me before you attack me. The other was shocked that Ichigo could wield Nnoitra's Zanpakuto, not only that an Arcanar Zanpakuto. And now it's time for Teresa Heim in her true form. Bankai Santa Teresa. Ichigo then showed 2 similar scythe each on Ichigo hands, with a red dragon outline colored on it while the other has a blue dragon colored outline on it. Ichigo then launch at Nnoitra and then he slash all parts of Nnoitra body and then he kicks him at back of his head to hear some cracks bone. The girls was awed by this and then Orihime spoke, to Tsubaki-chan, why Ichigo-sama has more than one Zanpakuto and also how he's so strong even now he was toying Nnoitra Teme. The girls then turned their heads to Tsubaki to try to answer her question. The first question is that I didn't, but for the second I know, and I think that your mate has transcendence to a being that even Aizen will not have a chance to kill Ichigo. Their eye was wide then change in huge smirk on their face that made Tsubaki sweat dropped. So that's mean Ichigo can have more girls, correct? Tsubaki nod slowly to clarify it. Orihime has turned into that Honsho girl. They howled in horror and defeat. Hey Orihime-san, can I be Ichigo Fracione? Orihime just nod and approve it. Tsubaki was relieved that she was invited and welcome to the family. Ichi-kun. A small pink hair girl latch on Ichigo left shoulder and jiggled at Ichigo startled by it. Then she went to hug Ichigo at his chest area but dazed and staring at Ichigo's 20 abs of steel that was covered by sweat. Yachiru was blush madly but hugged still and they heard a loud thud beside they. When they saw who it is, It was Zaraki Haim, also known as Goddess of Blood War. Well, it's good to see you again, and also I can see that you improved. Yachiro let go of Ichigo, then went to Zaraki Haim's left shoulder, but she was also blush when she just beside Ichigo. Ichigo was tall, or maybe a bit taller than Zaraki Haim, and then she just staring at Ichigo bodies. Why, abs of steel and bad Zaraki bad. He is your rival, not some kinda hot guy with 20 abs of steel that was covered by sweat. Ichigo waved his hand in front of Zaraki Haim but failed, but then she was surprised and start blushing more like a tomato skin. Ichigo kiss her on the lips and he then let go, then lick his lips to taste Zaraki, and it was pleasant taste. Like what you see, and also blushing hardly. I see even the goddess of blood war cannot stand kissing. Ichigo smirked and grins madly. Zaraki tried to protest like a girl but failed to so, and she just sigh in defeat. And I think that Byakuya Haim helping Rukia and Renjia, who is fighting Yami the Sero Espada. For Nnoitra, well, he was crawling away from Ichigo and Zaraki like a "Don't ignore me, you she." Nnoitra didn't finish his sentence because Ichigo bring back his dual scythe and then disappear, and then another Zanpakuto come, but it was even surprise. What the hell is that Jin's Baka Zanpakuto? Zaraki said, then gain attention from everyone. Even Nell, Orihime, Grimmjow and Tsubaki went up to Ichigo to see it's true or not. What's that pathetic Zanpakuto going to do, huh? Nnoitra said with a mocking tone on it. Ichigo-sama, use my bankai at him and feel what it feels like when you mess with Ichigo-sama. Shino said with rage in her words. Your wish is my command, Shinoheim, and I'll make him suffer because he too hurt Teresaheim. Tesla and Shino blush, but Ichigo compliment them and protect them. Also keep your underpants up, okay? After the war is over, everyone can have time in your lifetime. Every girl's in Ichigo's inner world blushing, including Satan herself.
Now that you just insult Shinoheim and hurt Teresaheim, you gonna pay and suffer more. Ichigo with anger and fury in his tone that he raised Shino upwards toward Nnoitra and then said the words that Nnoitra even fear of, Bankai. Kamishini no Yari. Then the sword pierced to Nnoitra heart and coughed much blood.
What the just happened and why the damn thing got so fast? Nnoitra coughed more blood. He then struggled to move. Kamishini no Yari can travel up to 300,000 km per second, and also it is the most flexible sword in the universe. Nnoitra eyes wide because even he tried to run away from Ichigo, he would still get caught and pierce. Also Kamishini no Yari is a poison. When it hit a spot, that area will disintegrates and turn into dust. Also thank you. Nnoitra narrowed his eye to Ichigo and confused that what was Ichigo thank you for? What are you thank for? Nnoitra then coughed more blood and stain on his mouth.
For training and fight with me, Aslo to control my new power. Again confused, but then Nnoitra realized something about Ichigo and he didn't think about soon. The eyes of Ichigo was feared to look. Don't tell me that you develop more spirit energy and have enormous speed. Ichigo then applauded and chuckled dark and evil that made Zaraki and the others smirk. But for Zaraki, she was excited for how evil Ichigo chuckle is.
Ding ding ding, we got a winner, guys. Also I am honored to have a fight for Song Long. Farewell Nnoitra Gilgo. On cue Nnoitra began to disintegrate into dust before saying, it's an honor as well Kurosaki Ichigo.
Now that's over, we now search your and Nell's friends then. Ichigo turned 180 degrees to face the others while Zaraki hugged Ichigo from behind to feel his warmth.
Let's go and find the present of Trace Espada and hers Fracione. Nell said as she remembered some of her old memory. Ichigo then nodded and tried to find some Ritsu of the current Trace. He then nodded to them that he find them in Sonito with his physical speed while the others followed behind. Tia and hers Fracione was watching from afar away from Ichigo's battlefield. They were shocked because not only they just witnessed Ichigo win against Grimmjow and to submit and how he handled Nnoitra with ease and didn't break a sweat. They could still feel Ichigo massive Ritsu and they felt warm by it by just feeling it. Tia was blushing but covered by her high collar while her Fracione blushing madly. I can't feel any Nnoitra Ritsu anymore, Sung said while everyone eyes wide. Well, I hate that prick because he sees only man should be power not woman. Suddenly they feel a massive pressure from behind them and they turn around only eyes wide and mouth jaw dropping and sweat dropped. Well, hello Haim-sama. I hope I give you a good show? Ichigo with a seductive low tone that they almost having a voice orgasm. Then Ichigo bowed at them and they were awed by his action. Yes, it's really entertainment to watch and also it's really an honor to meet you Ichigo. They walk towards Ichigo and stop only a foot away. They see Ichigo 20 abs of steel and try to resist the lust in their eyes. Apache and Sung Sung cannot resist so they quickly jump on Ichigo and attach him to both sides and for what reason? Mila Rose cannot resist anymore because she is a lioness so whoever is strong she has to have them.
Like what you see, Ichigo then look all three of them and they nod slowly try not embarrassing for their action. Ichigo then look up to see Tia who actually resist more than the three. Are you Tia Harabel and this three is your fraction right? Tia then nod and has a curious face on for who did he know her and her fraction.
Nelheim you can come out now. Then a shadow from behind them come and then hug Tia from behind. She was startled by this and tried to look who just hug her. Tia eyes was wide because not only she saw Nell but in her adult form as well and also she can see another person. One of them she knows who but the other three didn't.
Tia-chan it's good to you again sis. Apache, Sung Sung and Mila Rosa unattached from Ichigo and they turn around and they were surprised to see their sister again. Nell-sama. The three then run to Nell and Tia, then hug them as well. Our reunion is beautiful. It's me. Also let me introduce the other three. This is Orihime-chan, that's Zaraka and her Lieutenant Yakiru-chan. Nell point each name and they just said, yo, or, hello. Also girls are you attracted to Ichigo-sama? They all just confused by the question but then they realized something about Ichigo. They turn around to look closely at Ichigo and they were shocked to left eye was blood iris with yellow pupil and the right was black iris with purple pupil. But when they look form closely to Ichigo eyes, they were bloodthirsty and protective and felt warm with him just by his side.
Well Grimmjow Heim and Nell Heim, I keep my promise. Ichigo look at Nell and Grimmjow and they nod. Okay now let's look for another Arcanar who is loyal and aren't to Aizen. Ichigo then close his eye to see any other Arcanar who is in battle and he open his eye to go to the certain place. Let's go I sense another Arcanar who is fighting right now. Then Ichigo went to that place by just poor speed not so Nito or Shunpo. Let's go then girls. Nell then follow Ichigo and other follow as well.
XX line break XX. Is this it for me? I want to watch Aizen fall from grace because he treat women Arcanar disgracefully at the them. Shazel tried to stand up but couldn't, so she just wait for what to come next but only by a massive pressure and look for the source. Sizel feel warm and less panic for some reason and she didn't know why and how can adjust by feeling it felt warm.
I think that's enough for the show. They all look up to the voice to only see Ichigo with his glory with the girls behind him while Yachiru in the back of him hugged tightly. Hey there clown. Yachiru said while the others giggles. Kuretsuchi gain a vein pop on his head by his nickname.
Ichigo is that you? Or you then try to look Ichigo in the eye but fail because he was covered by his bang. Ichigo then slowly went down in front of Shazel. Shazel was confused so he looked Ichigo in the eye but was shocked. Ichigo what are you doing? She is an Arcanar. Or you then found herself swords at her throat and look who was the attacker but only eyes wide. Is that you Nell-chan? But was cut off by the small cut by Tia Zanpakuto.
You are not address Ichigo-sama like that. Tia said with monotone and the confused by the other. Also Ichigo want to find who is still loyalty to Aizen even if he didn't care about the Arcanar. Syazel eye wide because he didn't know Aizen did not care about his Arcanar. Is that true? Syazel then look at Ichigo who nod only and try not to look sympathy at her. Ichigo then embrace her with warm hug and she almost break down by it. Calm down okay. You need some healing. Syazel was confused by this and then an orange dome-like barrier cover her and heal her wound. Syazel then turn her head towards only to see Orihime smile at her. Ichigo then let go of her and run back to the scene. I'm sorry Orihime for the kidnapping. Orihime then startled by this.
Oh no that's alright, because you didn't do anything to me so it's okay. Ichigo then turned his head to see Kuretsuchi and his Bankai and Nemu beside him, while are you pinned by three people?
Well Kuretsuchi-san can you go to the fake Karakura town to fight with other and I can take it from here. Ichigo went to Uryu who is pinned and raised his hand to release her by the three. Also Nemuheim Uryuheim, how are you? Ichigo then bow at Uryu who is blushing madly for calling her Heim and then bow at Nemu who is suddenly blushing as well and she didn't know why. I Ichigo whwa, oh I fine. Uryu stutter by every words and she then blushing more BQs her action and the other girls giggle and Ichigo chuckle by this because not only Uryu is calm strict person but who stutter by just calling her, Haim. What are you trying to do Ichigo-kun? Kuretsuchi want to experiment on Ichigo for some reason. Then he raised his Ritsu and Ichigo didn't flinch at all. So he went on until at full power. He was angry at Ichigo because not only he defends the Arcanar but 4 Arcanar and Orihime is healing one of them until she is full recovered. Why are you aren't feel scared at my Ritsu and also why can't I feel you Ristu anymore? Kuretsuchi was angry at Ichigo. Can you just shut up ugly shithead who rape and experiment on your daughter like a dog and trash? Everyone was shocked from the information given by Ichigo and his voice booming across the place. Also Nemuheim deserve more life than you and even married to a person not loyal to her father who experiment and rape her.
Nemu eyes wide and try to hide her blush from her father and everyone. Ichigo get a peek towards Nemu and he can see a blush from her cheek. Go to Karakura town and help with others. Also Nemuheim, if you have a difficult life with your so-called father then call me okay. Ichigo then went back to Shazel and she was already healed. The others follow Ichigo from behind. Or you hesitate at first but follow as well. Kurtsachi opened a garganta and they walked through only for Kuretsuchi cursing at Ichigo and for Nemu she was blushing by the defense from Ichigo with determination and protective form him. One of this all will run away from father and he will not care me anymore and he will create another one just like me but more innocent. I will call you soon Ichigo Dono. Nemu thought and while the garganta close behind her and walked to the battle. Let's go to search you friends okay Syazelheim. Syazel was blushing and try not having a lustful eye on him. XX line break XX. Why can't we damaging to him? Rukia asked at Renjia and Renjia reply was cut off by a pressure coming from above to only see a huge hand coming downwards at them. Their eyes were wide open and struggling by this. Why can't we move? Rukia then heard Yami on his second form and he was laughing like almost a victory speak. It's the end of you, Shinigami pest. Yami almost hit them but his hand was cut off in a massive pressure coming towards them. When they see who it was they were relief and try not show any weakness. Are you okay Rukia Renjia? Hana Taiho asked them and they shook their heads with exhausted. They then was healed by Aizen and Oraim. Hana was carrying Chadia on her back and place her on the sand carefully. Then they feel another pressure but it felt like an Arcaner and on cue they were right but they was shocked not only the Arcaner but the number 3 Espada with her Frashin, Zuraka with Yakiru on her back. Uryu was carried by Grimmjow on the back as well. Why are you here Grimmjow? Rukia then tried to unleash her Zanpakuto but Orihime stopped her and Rukia looked at Orihime who just shook her head and Rukia was confused. Well we come to help ya and no we don't want to kill ya if you want. Grimmjow said with bloodlust but was cut short only to have another pressure but coming from Yami who was in agony and cry like a baby. Well look at you Rukia-heim Renjia-heim, you guys sure look tired. Rukia and Renjia try to look at the voice to only see Ichigo with lust and they just look at him with awe. Like what you see. Ichigo smirk at them and they try to protest but fail. You guys rest and heal, Hana-heim can you check the others as well? Hana then look at Ichigo but fail as she on her knees by just hearing Ichigo's seductive low-tone voice. Sure. Hana stutter and everyone was shocked to heard Hana Taiko stutter by just calling her, Haim. I'm gonna take this from here. Are insane. You gonna get killed if you fight him, he is the Zero Espada. Also you want to fight alone. Rukia shout at him to only he look at her and when she saw, she was shocked with eyes wide. Ichigo's eye was on determination and bloodlust. Who said I'm gonna fight alone? Rukia and Renjia was confused and but then Ichigo unseal his Zanpakuto. It's time Shiroheim Iraheim. Then 2-person come from his Zanpakuto and there it is. A doppelganger but different gander and the almost the same a foot away from Ichigo's heights while the other one is tall lean body woman with long red hair. Same heights as Shiro but with tan skin like Yami, she also has the same eyes as Yami. While Shiro is pale skin with hollow eyes. Hello there Ichigo-sama. Then the two kiss Ichigo in the cheek but got a jealous glare from the girls. Ah it's good to see you. Also Shiroheim Iraheim do you want to handle Yami? Yami on the other hand was surprised to see his Zanpakuto in human form. No it can't be. The others was confused by Yami question. Ira will never betrayed me. Grimmjow. Nell and Tia knows what he means, for the other confused and curious for what he meant by that. Rukia want to question about it but was cut off by Ichigo.
Oh, it's true because Iraheim was in my inner world from the beginning. Also I have some Arcanar Zanpakuto in me. Everyone was shocked because not only Ichigo can wield Nnoitra Zanpakuto but also Yami, and if he said then that's mean he have Nell, Grimmjow and Tia Zanpakutos too.
Shiroheim Iraheim, you may go and fight until he is dead and not a single body parts left behind. Vanish him from Hueco Mundo. Ichigo command the two and they nod and attack Yami at incredible speed. Only Ichigo can see it and the others was how the two fight. They fight like they were dancing with a rhythm. Ichigo turned around to look for the others and went to them and seat in front of them. He then suggest all of them seat and rest for a bit. Orihime and Aizen just about to finish, when they heard loud thud, and a massive pool of blood come out and they see a headless Yami standing lifeless.
We finish the job Ichikoi, and the reward? Shiro ask and blush for what the reward will be. But she and the others was shocked for what to come next. Ichigo kiss her on the lips with passion. Ichigo then goes to Ira as well and kiss her on the lips with the same passion. The two was blushing madly and they thanked for the rewards.
You guys can rest now. They nod and went to Ichigo Zanpakuto and inside of his inner world with the others. Now that was taken care of. Ichigo then closed his eye but then was cut short only to feel a big burst like E cup on his back and she was hugging him tightly. Ichigo could feel a pointy at his back shoulder, and also he could feel warm for some reason to only realize who it was. I know it's Ulki Orihime. The Shinigamis was on stance but Ichigo halt them before it's get nasty. Also I know why you are here. Ichigo then turned his body around to look Ulquiorra in the eyes. When he saw this, he heartbroken to see her eyes like been betrayed and left over like a piece of trash. Ichigo then slowly pat her head to light him up but failed to see Ulquiorra in almost in tears. So it's true that Aizen didn't care about us. Ichigo can heard sadden in her voice so Ichigo then embraced with her and she hugged back tightly to not let go. I'm sorry because I'm late. Ulquiorra shook her hand and kissed Ichigo on the cheek and said, it's okay, we have time. Then they let go of the embrace.
Ulquiorra-chan. Nell then run to Ulki and hug her and followed by others Arcanar. She then almost in breakdown. Ichigo saw this and almost want to go to Karakura town and take down Aizen Teme for making the girls know the truth. Ichigo then raised his Ritsu about 0.5% of his and the other was shocked for how powerful can Ichigo go and they can feel how warm his Ritsu is. Then a replica of Hogyoku was in front of Ichigo and the girls was because they know it was the Hogyoku. The orb just in front of him while the Shinigamis said destroy it but he then raised his hand to stop the threat. The orb stayed there like eternity for them. Do you want power master? The Hogyoku asked but then Ichigo touched it with caring like a person. The Hogyoku then almost sobbed and only Ichigo could heard while the other can't. Why are you so caring to me even if I'm who started this war? But Ichigo didn't said anything. Because I know that your desire are more than power and I know who you can trust too. Ichigo said with the most normal voice, also I'm not your master and also do you a human form? And on cue the Hogyoku turned into human form. She was like a goddess who was 4 feet 11 with peach skin. She was wearing a white hakama with a long sleeve. She also has a white long latex boot just below her knees. Her hair was long just above her waist and it was greenish color just like Nell. Her burst was bigger than the other, it was FF cup and it was jiggling up and down. What, it's not like I can help it. She then cup her breast and hold them up. She more effeminate than other girls in the group. Paruru. Ichigo said and the other was confused but for her, she know it. I like it. The Hogyoku then walked toward to Ichigo and then lean a kiss on his lips and then she disappear. Ichigo then felt more power than ever and he will use it when the times come. Now that was over, let's go to the another Hogyoku then. They nod and Ichigo opened a garganta to only stop a feminine voice from above. I will come with you, Ichigo-sama. The Shingamis was awed by the quest from the noble woman and tried to hide her blushing but failed because Zaraka and Yakiru was laughing so hard that the other was confused but Ichigo know what. Bayaka then went down to the group and Ichigo nod. It's okay Byakuheim, if want then come and try hold your panties. The girls surprised by Ichigo answer and the girls blush as well because they cannot hide their wetness. Well, let's go then. On cue they go to the fake Karakura town and the real battle begins.
While the walk in the Garganta, they feel warmth around them and they know why. Ichigo was making sure that everyone is not badly injured and can walk normally, so he make the path bigger so that they can walk freely and try to have a conversation. Chadiya then wake up from Unohana Taiko and try to snuggle up but was cut short to only found them at the real battle.
Where are we? Chadiya asked and Ichigo turned his head to face Chie who is blushing as well.
We are at the real battlefield. Ichigo then goes to Chadiya and kiss her on the forehead and went back in the front of them. Chadiya was blushing more so she just hid her face on the back of Unohana Taiko. Unohana then let go of Chadiya and she was on air.
I need Unohana Heim, Nell Heim, Grimmjow Heim, Tia Heim, Zuraka Heim and Ulquiorra Heim come with me, while the others look for the wizard and stay put with them. Ichigo commanded and they nodded. Okay now go. On cue they go while the others wath Ichigo. It time for some fun. Ichigo then chuckle madly and Zuraka was having some orgasm while the others smirk wildly. XX line break XX. Aizen. Hiyori launch at Aizen and try to slash downwards to only he dodge swiftly and then she try again to sidekick at him again fail. She down roar as she fire her red Sero, but Aizen then pull his hand up and take the to only after a few minutes of dust and impact. They reveal Aizen unscratched and unharmed at all as if the Sero is a weak punny Sero compared to Mano's Gillian. Hiyori then try another move but was cut off as another wizard. Shinji you laid shithead. While she kicks Sandal at him and on cue other wizards come with their mask on. Ah my experiment of hollows, I see you in good health. The wizards was disgusted by Aizen's words. They then try to launch at him but was cut off by a graspy authority voice. Shinji why are you here? Are you in Aizen's or us? Yamamoto asked at Shinji who is smirk at him. We are neither side. But we are Aizen's enemy. Shinji about to attack Aizen but was cut off by a massive pressure. What's this Ritsu? It's like a breathing in water while being pushed down in the bottom of the sea, or like being pushed by Yamamoto's Ritsu but 100x more than that. Unison as they thought. Well this battle is just nasty huh. They try to look the source but then they look up to see Ichigo in his glory looking at them while the girls behind him hide their smirk.
OWW look them there are in their knees, it's look pathetic he he he. Ichigo chuckle madly then turn into dark laugh while he being surrounded by a dark black Ryutsu then turn into an unknown power or energy but a few of them knew what's this power is and how did Ichigo has it. The girls was in orgasm with a large smirk on them. What the hell Ichigo? Hiyori then dismiss her's mask and try to stand up. Why on earth you have a dozen of Arcanar on your side? But she was pinned by two swords at her throat and one of the two slightly cut her skin to let out blood from it. What the hell Wong? You will not address Ichigo-sama in that way, Tia said with monotone that make Hiyori shiver down her spine. You also will not speak unless to do so from Ichigo, Tia continued. Ichigo chuckle hard and madly by his two beautiful women by their action, they others jaw dropped and confused what she meant by, Ichigo-sama. That's enough Tia Heim Nell Heim, she understand enough. Lower your weapon so she can speak but in polite way. On cue they Tia and Nell unpinned Hiyori and put back their Zanpakuto in their covers. Now that's taken care of, Tia Heim do you know who is Segunda Espada and Primera Espada? Tia then point at a man who was wearing a long gray fur around his neck with his left eye been hollow out, with a white long sleeves hakama. He also has two guns what it's a Zanpakuto. But now he was injured by fighting Shunsui and Yukataki. He got cuts from all over his body. Bruises from his left arm and he has a blood stain just below his right eye's socket. He pant heavily like the battle was taking forever. That is Stark Coyote, who is the Primera Espada. The man who is named Stark eyes wide from this and then Ichigo bow at him. He bow back to show respect and he didn't know why. And I assume that's Segunda Espada who is a former king of Hueco Mundo. Tia nodded but Ichigo didn't bow like towards Stark but he stare in killing intent in his eyes. The Segunda was shivering for some reason and he know why. Yes I'm the former king of Hueco Mundo and the Segunda Espada, Barragan Luisenbarn. He said with pride but to Ichigo he was disgusted by this, so he just go with it and try to hold his blood lust on the Segunda. Ichigo why are you different? Yamamoto asked the question just like everybody wonder why the air on him feels like a noble but far more greater than that. Everyone then turned their heads to Ichigo to see and hear his answer. Even Aizen curious about it.
But then they feels a massive pressure just like Ichigo, but this was calm, not bloodlust. On cue, they see a figure in front of Ichigo. The figure was almost the same height as Ichigo with long white hair. He also has 2 Zanpakuto each side on its waist with ease. The first Zanpakuto was a long white Zanpakuto with a dragon outline on its cover, while the other is black with the word kanji peace and calm.
The figure then has a skin color and its was peach just like Ichigo, and then the clothes start to inform. They shock was, the figure was in a red and white haori outline. The full color of the haori was black and on its back the word Soul King in kanji with its glory. Then the face came and they were shocked to see a man in mid-20s with golden eyes on them.
Ichigo just chuckled because he knew about this person, but the others don't except for Yamamoto, because he got eyes wide open and his jaw almost hits the ground. The man then blast out some Ritsu to reveal full appearance of the man. The man then chuckle at Ichigo and then he tackle Ichigo like a kid just got his brother back from a war and never came back to reveal he gone missing about a year or so. OWW, why my little brother is like 6-year-old kid? The man then snuggle at Ichigo to reveal he was almost in tears and Ichigo feel disgust to himself. I'm sorry Otuto-kun, and now I know that you are impatient person so it can't be helped. The man let go and rid his tears and look at Ichigo in the eyes with concerned face on.
It's that how you treat your Otuto, huh? After millennia years and you just joke about that. Everyone was sweat dropped because they could feel how mad he really is because he raised his Ryatsu up until they almost breathe in water.
I'm sorry, okay, and now I'm back, I can visit you every time. And I think that Odo-sama will be pleased. The man hugged Ichigo again, but this time it was a brotherly hug.
You will not do that again after that. Do you know how terrified I am after you die in that war? I was on rage, almost kill everyone, them surrender or not. Ichigo pats his head slowly and then kiss his on top of the head that could be approve of love his brother.
Oto-kun, can you please ease your Ritsu so that they can stay up except for Aizen Sosuke? On cue they could breathe again and they stand on their feet except for Aizen, who is barely stand and breathe. He then transform in a butterfly with a skin and with his bin white. Aizen broke the pressure by his own.
Identify yourself. Soifun demand at the man who still hugs Ichigo. But for Yamamoto know who was he, and he was more intense than ever. Yamamoto then said, Soifun, stop at this instantly and I demand you keep your voice down. Soifun was awed by the captain commander so she followed the order, but this time it was Yamamoto but was also cut off.
Well, it's time for the show Oto-kun, or I might introduce to the people, Soul King-kun. Who is still hugs Ichigo while the others wide eyes and jaw dropping, but then they couldn't bear another truth from the Soul King.
Well, at least let me introduce to my big brother to the people, Overlord or Satan-kun. Everyone just jaw dropped and couldn't bear anything or thinking straight at this point. Everyone eyes wide open and they couldn't believe their own eye. Kurosaki Ichigo, who is just a normal human, turned into a Shinigami who is known as substitute Shinigami, who is an arrogant and stubborn boy, now known as Overlord, and with his little brother who is Soul King. Yamamoto then bowed to them and every captain just shocked by his action.
It's nice to see you, Heika. The Soul King only chuckled by his nickname and so-called name. Every captain then bowed to, and they was curious, is this the real Soul King and who a little brother to Ichigo Kurosaki, who is Overlord, the King of Hell.
Can everyone tell me why my brother get killed almost every time when he want to save a single person who is very important people in his life? Everyone can feel his Ryatsu again, but this time it was anger because how could they, the Shinigami, can do something like that to his big brother? Everyone was struggling to breathe, even for Aizen in his transcendence form, who was struggling as well.
Oto-kun, please don't be angry about them, okay? They didn't know who I was. Ichigo tried to comfort his little brother and try to convince they did no harm or anything worse. Yet. Okay, if you insist then, this will be the final warning then. But if they try to kill you then I will not hesitate then. Everyone then sweat drop and they felt the pressure gone and they stand up but got the glare from the Soul King. Aniki, do you know there are 2 powers in your inner world, right? Ichigo just nod and his know quickly what he meant. I know what you mean, and also don't worry, she isn't like the last time when I put her in sleep. Also Shiro is jealous and she is prude than the others. While in his inner world everyone was giggled by the comment by Ichigo to Shiro, and also Zangetsu was confused so she wanted to question him, but to her surprise Ichigo just went to his inner world and go to Zangetsu and said, don't worry, my secret is seal and man, you are strong. If you say so, Aniki. Also do want to visit my children at the palace, they are so eager to meet you as uncle.
Ichigo just chuckled and then all of a sudden Ichigo went serious and his brother know why. Do you want me to handle him or both of us, or you want to handle this alone since it's your war? Ichigo chuckled then turned into evil laugh that make Aizen regret for his decision to start the war. The laugh booming throughout the battlefield and they try to run away from Ichigo by just his laughter.
I want to handle this alone, but before that, Ichigo then snap his finger and then start to glow purple and blue color in front of him.
Then two female behind Ichigo with lust action on him while the girls feel jealous and curious who is this two female. Hello there Ichigo-sama, it's nice to see you again after millennia years and also what are you command?
Come on Ying, stop being prude to Ichigo-sama since he die, okay. Also what is your command Ichigo-sama? Ichigo then smirk at them and he kiss in both the girls on the lips and he command then with the most bloodlust in his voice.
Kill Aizen Sosuke and make him suffer just like the others whom he experiment, kidnapped, torture, and such. Make him regret to define me by calling me weak, pathetic, and who he treat mother like a lab rat. Everyone make note to themself. Don't make Ichigo rage and angry. Also let out the other Hogyoku, her sister is waiting. On cue the girl named Ying go in front of Aizen and she pierced to his middle chest area and rip out some kinda purple orb and went back to Ichigo. Ah hello Hogyoku or Yui. You can go to your sister safely now and wait for me, okay. So the orb then went to Ichigo and he touched the orb he can feel more power. The Hogyoku however vanish but go to Ichigo inner world to meet her sister. Now for the killing part Ying and Yin, do it. They nod and they cast some the spell while the others eyes wide open to hear they cast the same spell to Aizen.
Seeping crest of turbidity. Arrogant vessel of lunacy. Boil forth and deny. Grow numb and flicker. Disrupt sleep. Crawling queen of iron. Eternally self-destructing doll of mud. Unite. Repulse. Fill with soil and know your own powerlessness. The said unison and everyone eyes wide open again but the most was Aizen because he know it will come at him.
Hado 90. Kurohitsugi, Hado 90, Kurohitsugi. Then a black coffin 2 times bigger than the normal Kurohitsugi.
No. You will never defeat me with just 2 Kurohitsugi, Aizen shout until he covered by full blackness and then it kept getting smaller and smaller into a normal coffin. Everyone can't hear anything or heard voice coming from the coffin. But then the coffin begin to crack and reveal Aizen with bruises and cuts, big ones, small ones. He also pant heavily and begin to sweat. OWW looks like Aizen didn't die, oh well. Ying almost launch at Aizen but stopped by Ichigo and Yin shout how Ying is very stubborn and impatient person and try to kill people without any plans whatsoever.
Well figures, I know you will survive Aizen. But can you survive this? Ichigo then unleash his Zangetsu and point at Aizen and said the word only the Soul King to look away but the other curious to what Ichigo will attack. Jigoku no Hantai, judgment for hell, then hellish flame came right from the tip of Ichigo's sword and went to Aizen. The others was awe and felt shiver up their spine. Everyone could feel the hellish flame but felt warm only but Aizen feel the heat and only about 20 feet away from Ichigo, he could feel it. Then the flame went to Aizen and he was in agony and suddenly he stood still like a lifeless being. Aizen then looked at Ichigo but he eye was wide and he was in fear, scare, and such in front of Ichigo. Aizen crawl away from him but he could not but to only feel his right hand to disintegrate. Aizen then was in agony more and more until he looked in the eye of Ichigo and he could see sympathy and caring.
Why are you looking at me like that? Aizen questioned to Ichigo who only saddened by his only accident.
Because you could be a better person Aizen. You could be the person who been admired by other to you. But you choose the wrong way, and then soul of yours will go to hell and will be there for eternity. But then the Soul King hug Ichigo and the others confuse, but then you could hear a quiet sob from Ichigo. The Soul King tightly the hug so he could stop the sobbing.
Now it's time to go. Aizen then turned into ash before saying, thank you.
Why iced hurting O Tudo-kun, why? Ichigo then untied his Zangetsu. Of course it's hurt Aniki Baka. You said that you will never be getting another burden just like before. So please let me help you this time, okay? Ichigo then nod by his Ododo-kun request and he stopped the sob.
So it's true then you are the overlord? Yamamoto asked Ichigo who's still hugging the Soul King.
The one and only. And I'm actually older than you think, maybe older than your mother Yamamoto. Yamamoto was in shock and his eye wide open. He then tried to attack Ichigo for insulting his mother, but some reason he can't and he didn't know why. Also, your mother will be upset if you kill his Aniki. Everyone was confused and also curious, who was this mother that Ichigo kept talking and he, Aniki, but to Yamamoto's surprise even more, and he know what Ichigo meant.
So it's true. Everyone look attention at the Captain Commander, and what did he meant by that? Come on, I'm the oldest of the three and maybe the four, I think, because I died before knowing it. Soul King chuckle and giggle by this and he know why. Are you gonna visit her Aniki? The Soul King then look at Ichigo and then to Yamamoto because he know why. Maybe I give her a visit and maybe take with you and Yama-kun. Yamamoto chuckle and he just nod and he thought, so it's true then.
Everyone, the war is over, you guys will be in patch and recover, but in the meantime we will go back in the Soul Society. With that rest, Yamamoto ordered them and they obeyed. Hana then went to heal the injured people and so the others. While the girls wait for Ichigo to come and have a little chat. Now that everyone is gone and went to their place or rest place, Ichigo and the Soul King let go of their hugs and nod and they proceed the conversation. Uncles, how are you and why I didn't inform that I have a uncle? Not only that but the Soul King and the Overlord. Both Ichigo and Soul King chuckle how the Yamamoto said like a kid. Let's just said that she don't want to spoil, but you are so cute when you were born. Ah, Yamamoto was blush and how his uncle act like uncle with him. Also, do you want to visit her? Yamamoto nod and he look at Soul King and he also nod. Okay, next week you guys will come with me and be living with me. Gigi surprised by Ichigo offering, but he nod and was eager to meet his mother after thousands of years.
I'll accept the offer you give me, Uncle Kurosaki. Ichigo then went to Gigi and placed his hand on his shoulder and Gigi knows why. But can I inform the others, not the live and other, but just having some meeting with a certain person to the others, Captain, is that okay? Ichigo just nod and approve.
Now then, the war is settled, what will you be doing from now on, Aniki? Ask Soul King to his Aniki and he just answer right away. I will be transferred to Kuo Academy to meet a certain person, and you know who, right, Ototo-kun? Soul King eye wide in surprise for Ichigo to meet the person after the war. Who are the person that want you to visit Uncle Ichigo? Soul King answer Gigi question, his first ever wife and his harem. And I doubt about it she will kick your ass after what you have done, only to make her cry and lonely. Ichigo just chuckle by this, he just go with the flow.
Okay, now that's not the time, okay. Let's go and meet the others. They all go to their respective place and visit the people. XX line break XX. So it's true then, Kurosaki-kun is the overlord. Ichigo nod.
And you are older than us, think. He nod again. And the Soul King is your Ototo. Again nodded.
Really, Aniki? You didn't introduce me to them? Ichigo laughed nervously and tried to run away from his beloved brother. You are not going anyway, Aniki. And explain now. The girls begin shiver. Alright. Geez. Girls, this is my Oto-Uto-kun. Oto-Uto-kun, this is my second harem. The girls confused then 3.2.1. What, your second harem? The said unison and disbelieve about this. The Soul King just chuckle and laugh hard. I can explain, okay. Ichigo nervously convinced to them and try not to misunderstanding anything. After that, they calmed down and Ichigo explained to them. This is my second harem. But my first was thousands years ago. Even the Soul Society doesn't exist back then until Odo-sama created Soul King, my O-Tuto-kun. While he pats his O-Tuto-kun slowly and cuddly, that were cute. Also, can I offering her something like that? They all look at Ichigo. Do you want to stay with me or you guys want to stay at your places? The eyes were crystal clear and stars, and they said, we will stay with you. Okay, that's settled, and maybe I try to convince my dad. Because I have to move out and transfer to another school.
Are you sure about that, Kurosaki-kun? Or he may ask, but Ichigo nodded. Because you have another year to finish your school year and graduate, you know, and nodded.
Okay, that will do. And for the people who will attend the school with me is Ulquiorra-heim, Orheim-heim, Nellheim, Tiaheim, Grimmjow-heim. The others will at home or go around to the new place and remember the places. For Byakuheim and Zarakaheim, I'll try ask them, even Rukiaheim, Renjiaheim and Yachiruheim. They all offer how many girls that Ichigo has now.
Okay, try to rest girls and I'll meet you guys after recover. Okay. They all nod and rest. For Ichigo, he tried to convince his dad to move out and transfer to another school to meet a certain person. XX line break XX. Everyone was chatting and healing, all of a sudden they could feel a pressure and they tried to be in stance attack or defense for what to come at them. Yamam he slam his cane and try to light him they mood and try not to attack the commoner. When then the pressure was gone and they try to found the source and when they did they were in shock. Is that how you welcome your elders or maybe even more than that huh? Yamam startled by Ichigo boomed voice and he tried to calm down but failed for how powerful and bloodlust the voice was.
Come on Aniki, don't be like that. I'm sorry about my Aniki, he really liked to prank people after the war sometime. They sigh in relief and Ichigo went to his father, Kazuki and Yoruichi who was excited for some reason and also the other girls. Ichigo walked with noble slow and steady even Byakuya who is noble herself felt humiliated. Dad, can you accept my request? Isshin raised his eyebrow and curious for what his quest will be. Isshin then nod and wait for his son and he inhaled deeply and exhaled deeply.
Can I move out from home and try to transfer another school with the girls? I mean not Yuzu and Karen, I mean my harem. Isshin then feel proud his son and try to be goofy around him. Ah, my son has a harem and I will be a granddad. Masaki our son has harem and Yuzu and Karen will be nephew. While he cry anime-like tears and goofy around Ichigo. So when will you move out then? Asked Isshin. Well, I will moving out by next week with the girls. Also, he then went to Ototo and said, I will be living with my Ototo-kun and Yamajiji. Everyone went to their knee and bow respect to the Soul King. After that they want to ask about the living with the Soul King and Yamajiji, but Ichigo speak and how they want to know why. We want to meet a certain person and have some meeting with them. Jushiro-kun Shunshui-kun we will have a meeting at the Soul Society just us, my dad, Yamam and my Otudo. They all nod. For the others you guys will keep this secret from the Central 46 and from the noble family also, they all nod. And what will you do with the Yamamoto Sotaicho? Huh Ichigo-sama, Soifun asked gain attention from everyone and she blushed for calling Ichigo that. Ah my cute little bee is blushing. Yoruichi teasing Soifun who is now more redder from the precious. By the way, what are you gonna do to Yamajiji Ichigo-kun? Question Yoruichi and they all turn attention to Ichigo. Well, first of all I'm not gonna hurt my little cousin over there and also second I'm gonna take care of him until he meet that person. Everyone curious of Ichigo gonna take care of Yamajiji and 3.2.1. What? They shout at him that almost cut his drum ear to bleed. Damn, not so loud. Geez, you gonna shout that loud until cut the eardrum. They then apologized to Ichigo and tried to ask but felt they gonna embarrassed about it. Also keep a secret about that, okay? They nod. Now that we off topic, can we go back to our original topic then? Ichigo nod. We will live with Ichigo and his harem and also he will attend to Kuo Academy to meet a person there as well and that will be top secret and privacy to him. They all nod while they have the same thought. Who are the person that Ichigo want to visit and also privacy to all of us. We will begin our meeting in 3 days and after a few days that we begin our leave. Also Soifun, do you want to come also? I won't force or make you, it's your decision, okay? Soifun then think and she nod and she accept the harem as well. Now that's over, is everyone healed or just about to finish healing? Some of them said, yes, and some, no. Ichigo then look his Ototo and nod and he then cast a Keto healing that only he can do, while he was healing the others they feel like normal again and healed like never before. Yama-kun go to Soul Society with others and until then we will meet again after 3 days. Also Ototo-kun, do you want to invite your children or they will come just like that? The Soul King think and then he just nod. Okay, just like that. After they healed they went to the Soul Society and Yamajiji pondered for the Vizords and they can stay at Soul Society at they will and the Shinigami ranks or unranks will not attack them at they will. If they do, they will banded for the ranks and vanish from the Soul Society forever. Jin also pondered because Ichigo tell them the truth about Jian plan for turning to Aizen but failed to do so. XX line break, 3 days pasted XX. Now that we hear, we will continue our conversation. But first Shunsui, Jushiro you will attend the meeting, but for others will not. The other captain want to protest but they remember about Ichigo want to keep a secret so maybe they will ask Ichigo about it. Understood. Now Shunsui Jushiro come follow to my office. They nod and follow Yamajiji to his office. When they arrived at the front of the door, they could hear talking and laughing. But then the voice keep quiet until non. When Yamajiji opened the door they greeted by Ichigo and the Soul King and they bow respect and went on to their seats. Now let's the meeting begin. Yamajiji slam his cane down and then cast a barrier so no one could hear them talking. Shunsui-san, Jushiro-san, do you know about the Great War? Ichigo said to them and all of them eyes wide and they nod. Ichigo then continue, that war was the most gruesome war of the three fraction. The angle begin to have fallen angle, the devil begin to work with the angel and the fallen angel but some of them are good and bad. They all stay quiet and listen to Ichigo from his information. After that war, Satan himself fall from grace but the other three great mouths survived. But the 72 pillars some of them survive some of them don't. They stay silent and keep listen and then suddenly they feels the most massive pressure of all time and they instantly on their ground struggling to keep out and breathe while suffocated. The Soul King then hug Ichigo tightly and try to comfort his Aniki while to encourage him and to stay calm. Shish. Ichi-ni, calm down. It's not your fault that he die after that war okay. But the fault is that is me and the Shinagamis was at fault okay. I know that time you born at the living world as the war began and you didn't know about us until you regain your memories again but I sealed them so you won't try to attack and gone rage about it okay. Try to stay calm. Ichigo then calmed by his ododo and the pressure of the room vanished without the trace, so they begin to stand up. They want to ask about the Soul King but don't want to but I be the meantime they want to find out why that person is so important to Ichigo. While they think that Yamajiji thought about something and he instantly knew what Soul King meant by he. Izshin on the other hand still breathing heavily and tried to calm down about the pressure and that he went goofy around at Ichigo, of how he will be a great father and how he will make third daughters but Ichigo play alone so that he reduce the rage on him. Now let's get back on the topic. They nod and they stay quiet to be serious. UNC Ichigo, can you please start the meeting please? Shunsui, Jushiro and Izshin was confused from Yamajiji for how he almost call Ichigo, uncle. Ichigo and the Soul King has smirk on their face. Well after that war and Satan fall from grace, Ajuka Beelzebub invented a chest piece and placed them into their bodies. These chest piece also known as evil pieces will be only effective only the true bloodline of a devil from each families. But they can reincarnate back from a person who is still alive but almost dead. That person will become a devil and will be a servant to that devil. The pieces is like a chest piece and each of them has job or authority. They still keep quiet and calm but they want to ask a question but Ichigo halt them. Even they have the chest piece, some of them to marry one another to keep the bloodline continue some of them forced to marry each other some of them found love. At first they felt disgusted that they have to marry to another bloodline devil to keep going by force but then when Ichigo said the word, love, they were softened. And lastly we have to meet the person that me, Soul King and Yama-kun will have a meeting with them. And they will be a war. Oh I almost forget that even Ajuka-kun invented the evil pieces, he also invented the rating game but I didn't know. They were shocked that Ichigo said that even the Soul King stunned by this. Also don't worry everything will keep control and some have of them I've planned already or so, while scratch back of his head nervously. So what's the plan will be? Asked Izshin to his son. Ichigo want to answer but they feel a massive pressure and also a warning alert to them. Warning. Since when a warning alert have? I know only Ichigo can intruder to the Soul Society but this with a massive pressure, I think at least 3 people with the same level as you Yamajiji but maybe even more powerful. Everyone was shocked from Shunsui except Ichigo who stay calm. The Soul King look at his Aniki, when he did, he saw the biggest grin and smirk of all time. Taiko. There are intruder coming towards here there are 3 people. Lieutenant of Yamajiji said while burst the door open and warning them. So he break the barrier and he slam his crane down to calm his lieutenant down and try to speak normal and slowly. But then a red beam came towards at Izshin and he barely dodged it, when misses its target, it smashed the wall behind them and exploded and they can see the whole Soul Society up there. When the dust was clear they could see who was the intruder but was shocked who it was. The four great Maos, only three of them come, was there on air in front of them with a surprise and sadden-faced, and they didn't know why. Yama-Jiji, Shunsui, Jushiro, Isshin was on stance attack, but Ichigo and Soul King didn't. They were calm as ever. It's like they did that a million times now. The first person was a handsome young man with light blue eyes and green hair that is slicked back. He has a mysterious aura around him which he claims makes him seem devilish. His height was almost the same height as Ichigo, but an inch or few short than him. He also wear a long green color coat that went below his knee. He then chuckle and suddenly cry and went at Ichigo with a speed that can't rival as Soifun or Yoruichi herself. There my son Shish. I'm here now, okay, and I will never leave you. Everyone was shocked by this, and so the other two tackles Ichigo at the same time and they begin to cry to and break down. And I'll take that you are the new Lucifer. Ichigo asked to a red long hair and he gnawed on Ichigo's chest. Ichigo tried to comfort them and encourage them not to cry. The second person was a beautiful girl with long, black hair tied into twin tails and blue eyes. In anime, her eyes are violet. She also has a childlike body, albeit with large breasts. She was dresses in magical girl's clothing, from Magical Girl Milky Spiral 7, the same outfit Miltan wears, magic wand and all, prompting Issei to call her the nickname, Satan Girl, Mo Wang Xiao Nu Mao Shoujo. She also was crying as well, and Ichigo knows why. And lastly, the third and final person is a handsome and young, having the appearance of a man in his early 20s with shoulder-length crimson red hair and blue-green eyes. He wear a lac gray color coat with slightly have a orange outline from his shoulder area and to his knee area. His height was also almost the same as Ichigo, but the same height as the first person. After that breakdown, the three was now calm, and the captains was informed that the intruder was not any harm but to meet a father wise Ichigo. Isshin was the first notice who was the red hair man in 20s. Surzek-san, is that you? Asked Isshin. The man named Surzek then his head and face Isshin, and then he shake his hand and said, Isshin-san, long time no see my comrade. Isshin smile with amuse for so long that how he miss his friend. Also I take that you're the father to my father. Isshin then, and ahve some thought about, and he quickly knew what he meant about it. He nod. So father, how are you in the past millennia years? Surzek asked Ichigo as his father, while Yama-Jiji, Jushiro and Shunsui was awe and dumbstruck to this conversation. I'm fun my child, also how's is she? Surzek only shake his head and Ichigo only sigh and sadden. So Surzek-kun, how's the underworld? Shunsui try to push away from the scene and try to come back the plan. Well, you know this and that. Shunsui only, and sigh while the others try to seat back and continue. Enough of the introduction, Ichigo said while getting attention from the others. As I said, we will move out after the meeting is over and start a new adventure like always. The nod, and after that, they went to their prospective place and tried to talk the others and make some plans before going to the new place. XX line break XX. Well, good luck on your trip Ichi-ni-san. Call us if you arrived at the new house of your, and also don't hesitate to invite us come over, okay? Yuzu said almost in tears while looking at her brother move out from theirs, and also Ichigo could see Karen in tears as well. Okay, I will. Ichigo then went to Yuzu and knee in front of her and he hugged her, and then Yuzu in breakdown. Karen didn't held back, so she run up to her brother and cry like Yuzu. Karen, keep your sister safe, okay? If anything happens call dad, okay? But he can't call me, okay? They all nodded while snuggle on Ichigo's chest. After that went into the car and went to the new place and start new adventure as well. While on the road, Ichigo was in thought to how he see her at the school and also how she will react. Ichigo saddened and about how she would not remember her life before she die and how she was killed when the invasion at her castle. Ichigo was having this thought until he was in deep slumber while the girls was as chatting, sleeping, hearing music or radio and such until they arrive at their destination. She was crying in her dream, but she didn't know why she cried. She was angry, sad, lost in fear for what she seen or heard about him, but she didn't want to know. But she still listen, even she won't to. She was in her room at the castle with other harem as he call it, but to her it's like wife, another wife living the same roof as you but different. She was comforted by his second wife named Takamina with her best friend Achin. They will encourage her, convince her that he will come back but will be different type of person. Maybe he will be the bad guys or the good. But she's still convinced that he die and that's that. But all of a sudden her dream mind changed to another scene, but it was more gruesome than before. She sees him get pierced by an holy sword at the heart. She scream his name but didn't reach in time as she sees another sword slash his head off. She stare their eyes wide, scare and fear that she will be the next victim in the attack. She close her eyes waiting for the attack, but it didn't come, so she open her eyes. When she does, she was in different dream mind again. But this time it was beautiful, the people was in good mood, the kids were playing games, some of the old couple was sitting on a bench and tell their perspective of how they met and how they gained their relationship. She heard the story but was off guard as a firm yet protective arm wrap her body. She know who is this person, so she close her eyes and feel the warmth and protectiveness of his action. My loved, it's time to go now. His voice was low seductive tone that make her blush by his voice. She open her eyes and nod to go back home. While walking back home with leisure, they would talk each other, like how's their day or did anybody did anything wrong to you or anyway. But then the man stopped his walk and she then stopped just a feet away from him. What's wrong my love? Ask her, so she goes to him and look at him in the eye. But when she did, she was shocked because not only she stare at his eye, but it was lifeless blank like he sees a ghost and his life was taken away in front of him. She then shake him fiercely and try to wake him up but failed to do so. Please love, come back. Please don't leave me again after thousands years ago. Please don't, she said while she hold her tears, but she can't take any more. She break down in front of him while she on her knees and crouch down into a ball shape. Then the scene change again, but this is the final change. She was in a black void floating. She groaned and when she opened her eyes, she was shocked and fear that nobody was there except her. She don't shout but fail as the answer never comes, so she curl her body into a ball shape and sob. Please anybody help me in these forgotten sake memories of mine. She thought and she then think of something. She then tried to summon anything but came out nothing. She almost in lost hope, so start to cry again, but all suddenly she see a light and on front of her was a mirror. The reflection was a woman in her teens or maybe older, a year or two. She has a crimson red hair that went to her back until it's reach almost her feet. She has a blue-green color that will give you some willpower or some motivation some sort. She has a white milk smooth skin like a baby. She has a slender legs, almost thin waist and that make her burst big like FF cup. She wears a middle evil or a very long cloth even before the BC exist. Please show me in the future and show me the person who is my beloved husband will be and whom his brother will be. Then the mirror show a young kid with a orange hair kid with her mother while holding hand and walking from his karate classes. He has the same scowl as he did and she smiles sadly and happy at the same time. Then the mirror show his despair and the burden he will carrying in his lifetime. There the kid was on top of his mother who was bloody and in his face was cover also. He cried and cried until his eye was dull like she seen before and she was shocked and almost in tears. Love, why it's always you carrying this burden to yourself? Why can't we help you? She thought. She thought of something and she thinks that if her theory is true then she will try it. Show me my future self but without my memories and such. And on cue the mirror shows her with the same appearance. Her eyes, hair color and the length of it, her heights, skin color, everything was the same. But the mirror shows she was badly injured and she was breathe heavily and she knows why. She was in battle one-on-one with a blonde short hair man with a grin on his face. He also mocking her but the most part of the word she only hear 3 words and that's was, will force marrying, and she was shocked and disgusted just by looking and listening to it. But then the mirror turned black and the scene changed to the same kid but older and she was surprised and tears of joy. Because in that mirror shows a teen tall 6'3" with a lean body and shows his 20 abs of steel. He was wearing a shikai form shinigami with a big cleaver-like sword on his back wrapped by a white-gray-like cloth and then suddenly he was covered by a dark red-black color energy and she knew right away that he unsealed his memory. She smiled and tears of joy burst. Show me my battle just a second ago. The mirror showed it again but she said, I want to give her my memory and she will gain my power as well just like me. She will also knew right away her beloved husband and I know he will save her before it's too late. On cue she put her hand on the mirror and transfer her energy or power of her and transfer to the same as her. After that she let go of the mirror and the mirror was one. I hope he will save me or not, that the Mary will be going the next day. She suddenly feels pain in her brain and her whole body was in agony. She let out a painful cry and she said before she turned into dust. We will meet again, Ichigo. And she vanish in the void of darkness. XX line break XX. Rias was breathed heavily and she was badly injured. She got bruises, big cuts, small cuts. She was going to lost this prick. This womanizer. She hated him, because she want to be loved as Rias Grimori, not as Rias Grimori. She hate how her life became a living hell when her dad, Zioticus Grimori, and her Onisama, Searsex Grimori, to agree a marry arrangement with the Phoenix family with their son, Riser Phoenix, who also known as Prodigy Devil, or for Rias, womanizer, because he marry other 72 pillars woman, which are 10 women. She was disgusted. Come on Rias my darling, forfeit now and accept my love to you. Rias was disgusted by his voice. We can live together at my family's mansion with my other wives and sibling. She was disgusted by his offering. We can have children, that will make our family proud. Everyone was shocked by Riser offering that. Riser father getting annoyed by his son antics and how he went overboard. Rias on the other hand was more disgusted and she spit out to the ground. Who the hell want a child with you? Womanizer. Rias shout at him and try manipulate her power of destruction of hers to her opponent that wasn't even flinch. Rias then launched the attack at him to only get hit. But when the dust is clear, Riser was still standing unscratched and he was hit like nothing happened. What? How could that be? My power of destruction was the strongest attack ever. Riser was laughing his ass off. Riser's Biling was cheering for him of how strong his was or how he was the perfect person for Rias. Well, that attack wasn't good enough. Rias was trembling in fear for what to come next. Now it's my turn. Everyone was shocked, but the most shock was his father, because not only his son was gonna attack Rias but without mercy. His father was shouting at Rias to run away or forfeit before getting any worse, while Searsex was in fury and anger on how Riser treat his little sister and how he gonna attack without mercy. Rias closed her eyes and was waiting for Riser attack. She could hear everyone shouting including her peerage to run away. But she couldn't and she can't because how Riser is strong and how she was stubborn person to let he win like that. Suddenly she heard non. She didn't heard shouting, Riser attack, the protest and such. She suddenly gained pain in her brain like a memory of someone. Wah, what is this? Then a scene display her doppelganger with a man walking in her slow walk at their backyard mansion and how she was loving. Because she could see, the doppelganger was laughing, giggling and chuckle while walking with him and having a chat. Ichigo. Rias then gaining another pain in her brain and she was in agony. Then the scene changed. This one was the gruesome, because it was that her love die in that war. She suddenly tears for some reason and she didn't know why. Then another scene change and it was the most beautiful, the most moodiest day of their life. The doppelganger was giving birth to a baby boy and a baby girl. The baby girl, Rias instantly knew who she was. Satan, my baby. She eyes wide and how her first baby girl die after the war with the 3 friction, but that time her husband born so she didn't know. The baby has a pale like skin with red blood sclera with purple irises. Her hair was white and long just almost past his back neck. Yuzu. That was the baby girl's name that she knew also. The baby girl has the same color skin as hers. Her eyes was brown like his. She just looked like a normal human being, but Rias didn't careless. She has the happiest face on her and Rias knows that she will keep bothering her brother and she also concerned about him too. She was younger than her big sister. Then the scene change again, but this time it was her son's death. Satan was falling from the air and land hard on the ground. Rias was shouting no to her son but they couldn't heard because it's just a memory lane. Then she was in the black void just like last and she was surprised by this. Why am I here again? But no one answer. Oh right, I die after what I did. She could feel nostalgic about this place. Then all a sudden she gained all her memory after she said, Ichigo came back to me. Be with me again. Don't leave me again after thousands years ago. Rias was in agony while having her old memories and the current she still has it. There were happy memories, bad ones, awkward ones, and such. She then remembered his promise that he made to her before he went to war. Rias dear, can you make a promise? Rias tried to look the voice she hear but she failed to do so. Yes, what is it? She heard another voice but she knew whose. Even I die in this war, will you keep past our memories to a person or your future self to that person who resembles you and me? My Ododo-kun will help me out, okay? She then suddenly felt pain in her heart like she knew who this man is.
I will. Then she suddenly said one word, Ichigo. After that, she closed her eyes and came back reality at the battle. She then heard shouting of her peerage and everyone. She heard Riser coming closer and closer and then to a stop. She knows that Riser was in front of her and she waited for the attack to come. Rias has a single tears on her corner of her eyes and she said the words, Ichigo, save me.
Suddenly a massive pressure appeared at the scene and they all was struggling to stand up, breathing, and such. They were fear for such a massive pressure can go down in their knees. Everyone was on the ground instantly and they were having the same thought, what could this pressure be? It can level a ultimate devil or maybe it feels like even more than that. For Rias, she knows this pressure. She knows that if he were mad or on rage, if somebody hurt Rias, he will gone mad. He will kill everyone who take her lightly. She felt warmth, protective and bloodlust of the pressure. She hasn't felt that pressure for a millennia years. She were smiling. She was happy to felt this. She was enjoyed by this pressure.
Suddenly the pressure came to a stop and vanished to thin air like it wasn't there at all. The bystander, her peerage, and all the watchers was standing up slowly to not feel dizziness and felt like vomiting. Riser on the other hand, he was in fear, trembling, and scared and he didn't know why. They watch as Riser pull back from Rias and he didn't know why. Riser father was confused and curious to why his son was pulling back from Rias. The sibling of his was shouting to finish Rias off, but then they feel the same pressure and then thud, thud, thud. Well, what do we have here? The voice was low, seductive monotone. Rias was tears of joy that she didn't heard that voice for thousands of years. The people was searching the voice, but then when they look at the scene where Rias and Riser was at, they were scared, and trembling for the person was. Is that how you treat my wife, huh? The voice booming throughout the field and they were scared. The voice was in fury, anger, and he was going mad by a second. The figures then come to a view and they were scared. The figures was stood a man in his teen, maybe a bit older than Rias. The teen was stood tall 6'3" with the Kuo Academy uniform on. The man was lean body that you can see through his uniform and some of the girls blush when they see it. The man has a bright orange hair with amber eyes, with his scowl face on. The man then was surrounded by a red-black energy that could rival the Satan herself. Then the energy was covering the man fully and they was on feared what to come next. Then when the energy died down a bit by bit, there was it the devil himself could fear. There stood the same man but was totally different person. The man has 9 tails like cat behind his back on his tailbone and also has a cat ear on his head. But the most shock to the viewers was his eyes. He has the same hollow eyes but has a purple sclera with black iris on his left and on his right it was red blood sclera but has the hollow that was yellow iris. Then they saw his 16 wings coming from his back, 8 on each side with a golden color on the left while on the right is dark red color. He then surrounded by a red dark energy that make the viewers shiver on their spine. Who did hurt my wife? The man said while searching for the culprit, but he then was tackled by a person. They then hears a sob and then turn into breakdown. They see Rias was hugging the man from behind him. Bucko, get away from him, shout Issei, but she didn't listen. Rias, run, Akeno said, but suddenly they saw the man raise his right hand. When they sees this, they shout at her to run away from him, but she didn't. Suddenly what they saw was the most bizarre ever. The man was patting Rias on her head slowly and smoothly like a father would do to their child. Shush. My love, everything is all right now, okay? Don't cry now, okay? I will not go anyway but be with you forever. The said with the most neutral monotone ever. But to them it was like a warning to them. If they hurt Rias, there will be consequences. They were sweat dropped and trembling to not attack the person or Rias. After millennia years you came back, Rias said to him while sobbing, while the others was confusing to what she meant by that. Searsex and his 2 companion was in tears of joy to see this and knows why. I gained my memories but it was too late for me to reach you, but now I can.
I know, I just regained me memories just a week ago, he chuckled while hugging her.
Who are you to interfere? Put game. Shout Riser at the man, but he was struggling to keep his words out. The man then laughing, and it was evil laugh that will make you cry like. Why are you laughing? Then Riser have enough of this, so he charge at him. You will be dying now. Riser then roar of battle cry. Rias, can we wait for our little reunion? Rias nod and she let go of the man. She stand behind the man while clenching his cloth. Now let's see what this Riser from the Phoenix family that heard about and can do. Everyone was shocked for who did this man know about the Riser family. No, Riser, don't do it. Riser father shout to his son, but it was too late, that he was almost near to the man with no stance for whatsoever. The man was bored, to say at least. Riser boy, you need to listen, your father or not your ancestor will be disgusted by his ancestor son action. Again everyone shocked to how he knows about it, while Rias was giggles to heard that and how her memories to that family long time ago. Riser didn't listen. So you want the hard way. Then can you withstand this attack then? Suddenly the man disappeared and he was in front of Riser, who almost hit him. But then when Riser almost inches from the man, he got flicked by just a finger and he was thrown back so far away and hit the something, and he coughed some blood and soon black out. I think I went overboard, didn't I? Everyone's sweat dropped. Take note that they will not attack the man. Rias was chuckling, and how he always do that if their children sneak attack their father that way. I think you did that on purpose, you know that, right, Ichigo? Then on cue everyone jaw drop of how she knows the man's name. Also welcome back Koi. She then turned to the man named Ichigo and kiss him on the lips, and Ichigo kiss her back with passion, and how she remember the taste of his husband mouth was. Well, it's good to see you again, Rias Suma. Everyone eyes wide of how he know Rias name. Who are yo? Suddenly Ichigo turned into a human form again with his uniform still on. Ichigo, did you transfer? Rias ask and Ichigo nod. She then smile and she kiss him again, but this time on the cheeks. It's good to see you again. Well, you know. Ichigo nervously chuckle. I'm sorry about what happened that day, okay. Also you keep my promise, so a win-win situation. Rias then snapped for how she remembered that promise and how that day also the day Ichigo die.
You will not participate any kind of war, you got that? Shout Rias at Ichigo, who was scared of how can Rias get angry and how she handle Ichigo. I cry that day until how I still remember how you die and the details given by our daughter. Rias the cry while punching softly at him on the chest. Ichigo then felt disgust to himself, so he embraced Rias.
Well, too late for that. I already did, and it went okay to say at least. Laugh nervously and try to avoid the gaze she give to him. Ichigo the sigh of defeat. Well, you know that I can't see people getting hurt, so. Rias then getting angry at him, so she punched Ichigo in the face and he flew and smashed in something. Well, feeling better now. While rubbing his bruised face. But before he got the answer, Rias then hugged him again and he felt sorry for her. Now it's over, and who wins, by the way? Grafia awed the scene and she forget to announce the winner. There will be no winner. Everyone knows why. But she continue, she said the words that will get attention and she knows that they will not believe her anyway, but still. But the winner will be decided by His Majesty Overlord Sama. Everyone eyes wide and the look to Ichigo with priceless expression face. But for Sirzex and his companion chuckle, and they turn attention to Sirzex, who is chuckling. Well, come on father, you can say mother is the winner. Sirzex and they all surprise who he calling to? Okay, my child. Ichigo said, and then he said, the winner is Rias. Why she is the winner? Because she fought for freedom, her space, and she knows why. She want to live normal person. She did not want to marry Riser Phoenix. So the winner is Rias. That said, and they knew why he meant by that. Yeah, Bucko won, Issei said while the others cheer for him. Yeah, but wait a minute, said Akano, and all of them think a sec of what did Ichigo meant by child, Grafia's, Overlord Sama, Sirzex, mother. 3.2.1. What? They shout unison while looking at the couple. Rias was blushing while Ichigo was chuckling. Sirzex Sama, what do you mean by mother and father? Also, what did you mean, Overlord Sama, Grafia? And Bucko, when did you married to him? Ask Asia while look at Rias, who is still blushing, and Ichigo patting her head slowly. Well, let's just say that Sirzex has regained his memories that was hidden by me. Suddenly a few people come at the scene and they were confused to what this person meant. Hello there, Rias-chan. Rias then looked at the voice who was calling her, and when she did she smiled and ran up to that person. Soul King-kun. Everyone was awestruck and they were sweat dropped. The person was almost the same height as Ichigo with long white hair. He also has 2 zanpakuto each side on its waist with ease. The first zanpakuto was a long white zanpakuto with a dragon outline on its cover while the other is black with the word kanji peace and calm. The figure then has a skin color and its was peach just like Ichigo and then the clothes start to inform. The shock was. The figure was in a red and white haori outline. The full color of the haori was black and on its back the word Soul King in kanji with its glory. Then the face came and they were shocked to see a man in mid-20s with golden eyes on them. Rias then hugged him and he also pat her head slowly. It's been thousands years since we met. Rias said with smile and excited of the little reunion. Well, it's been. Also did you? Rias nod and he just chuckle. Well, Aniki deserved that so. Rias chuckle while Ichigo far away from them heard that and his eyes twitch. You know I can hear that. Ichigo then start walking to them with a noble steady walk. Also it's been a while with a little reunion so maybe this unexpected. Ichigo said while looking at Sirzex and his companion who was smiling. Sirzex-kun. Ajuka-kun also Leviathan-chan come here to meet your papa and mama. They then went to Ichigo hugging him while the girl hugged Rias who just let go of the hug from the Soul King. They laugh and cuddle together and it's form a family. Yama-kun meet my family. Family meet Yama-kun. Your cousin. They said, hi, and bow while Yamamoto bow back. 3.2.1. Cousin, that was the second time they scream. Whoa, I never thought that Ichigo could have a wife, not just that a teen with a fluorine monofluoride cup burst. Said Sung while the other girls was jealous at Rias because just by one word, wife. Also Rias meet my second harem, girls meet Rias my first wife. Rias then bow to them and they bow back. Ichigo, can we meet at my family mansion, the Gremory family? Ichigo shocked to say at least of how did he remember, he and Rias met just like this time. Sure, why not, and also please invite your peerage as well. That said they go to their prospective place and the most awe expression was the Phoenix family. So, Rias break the silence of awkwardness and all their attention went to Rias who is struggling to get her words out. Yes dear, what is it? Rias' mother said her known as Veilon Gremory. How should I handle this? Thought Rias while her mother getting worried about her daughter with her friends. Well, her concern was the orange-hair boy who was sitting beside her that she worried about and she didn't know why. Well, this is unexpected, said Ichigo, and their attention was on Ichigo beside Rias's, and how Rias thankful about her husband. Let introduce first. Hi, my name is Kurosaki Ichigo, said to the family, and what's yours? My name is Venelana Gremory, and this is my husband Zeoticus Gremory, and I take that you knew my son Sirzex and her wife Graphia? Ichigo nod and she then continue but was cut off by Zeoticus. Wait, did you say your name Kurosaki Ichigo? Zeoticus eyes wide so of the others except Rias and the Soul King. The others was confused to why he was like that to hear Ichigo names. Well, look who it is. Kurosaki Ichigo, King of Dragon. Also married to Tiamat, Queen of Dragon. Man, it's so long since I have a good spar with you with the others. Man, remind me not to insulted your first wife. And I'm sorry. Diedrich, what do you mean by King of Dragon? I thought you said Tiamat is the King of Dragon. Everyone was surprised of how did the Welsh Red Dragon said with hesitate tone and how Issei said that was worried face. When Issei have the dragon power, Diedrich gives some information about whose dragon is bad and who's not, and who is the Dragon King. Well, I'm not just a Dragon King but I also known by others, said Ichigo with the others try to name a few gods or king. What about others? Ichigo think, but the just laugh. Everyone shocked that not only this man is King of Dragon. Everyone sweat dropped and they have a thought of how he defeat or win over Tiamat. They have shiver up to their spine and they won't think anything else. Enough of the title. I'm just a normal person who married Rias, no sure name, just Rias. Venelana and Zeoticus was surprised of how Ichigo just said with casual and how he almost said that he just equal has everyone. Also another thing. Everyone then listened to Ichigo for what more his background, but when he said that, they will forever remember. How's my grandson doing, Zeo-kun? Zeoricus stunned of how he know about that nickname. Everyone was confused but to Rias and SK they know what Ichigo meant, so they play along with him. Come on Zeo-kun, you didn't remember us. Man, why Ichigo great-great-great-grandson so helpless? Now everyone is more confused, but Zeoticus suddenly remembers something in his back of his brain. He remember he was 10 years old boy walking with his great-great-granddad beside him while holding hand, with a man with bright orange hair, man in his 20s on his left while holding hands. The man also holding hands but with another person, and he could see a bit of crimson hair color that was fall grace like a waterfall. He remember the name and everyone shock of he said it. Dad. Everyone look at Zeoticus, and when he did, they were puzzled because, for what they see is a man in his 30s almost in tears, and they didn't know why, but to Rias, SK, and Ichigo they were smiling. Come on here, son. Ichigo then stand up and Zeoticus on cue jump and ran to his great-great-great-great-great-father and hug him. Rias also goes to them and hug also. Ichigo then rub Zeoticus back smoothly and convince him to calm down and how he still act like a boy. There now. Everything is going to be fine now. Ichigo and Rias hugging their great X3 son. Once Zeoticus calmed down, he wiped his tears and tried to come back their meeting but failed to do as he punched Ichigo in the face. Rias chuckle also SK while the other sweat dropped of how painful that punch was. Well, that's the second time, and I think it would be the last or not. Ichigo then stand up and walk to them while they were still puzzled of what happened. Sears on the other hand was giggling like a child. Well, you deserve that, Gramps. Zeoticus shouted at Ichigo, who was rubbing his bruises face. Is that how you treat your very own ancestor? At least give me a kiss on the cheek or something. Man, at least your mother was kind enough to kiss me when she punched me. Zeoticus feel embarrassed of how Ichigo said that while Rias pushed Zeoticus, and he look at Rias. Come on, it's rude to not kiss him on the cheek, and at least he not mad like before, you know. Zeoticus then looked down and how he remember how Ichigo can be mad and how he still regret that day. Suddenly he could feel a hand on top of his head and was playing with his head. But it was comfortable, and he know why. When he looked up to see Ichigo into his eyes, he could see regret and painful eyes, and he knows why. I'm sorry. Zeoticus said and kissed Ichigo on the cheek like a child to his father would do. That's fine. Feeling better? Zeoticus nod. Honey, why didn't you mention that this boy, I mean man, is your grandpa but also your ancestor? Asked Venelana to his husband, and also everyone want to know also, but they couldn't. Yes, my dear, he is my grandpa, and he also the strongest devil in the world, or maybe he's stronger than Satan himself. Zeoticus said, and everyone were intense of how Ichigo is stronger than Satan himself, but Ichigo cut them off and he looked at Rias and she nod. But to everyone except SK know what they having the silent conversation. Then Ichigo sigh. Well, technically Satan isn't a boy but a girl. Everyone was shocked, even Sears was surprised by this. But then they could hear a sob coming from Rias and they didn't know why. Shish. Rias, it's not your fault that you want to continue my legacy, but Ichigo was cut off by when they shout, EHH. Wait a sec, what did you mean, she, and how Rias was not the fault of something? Also what legacy? Issei questioned them, also the others want to know as well. When Rias was settling and calmed down a bit, she looked at Ichigo in the eyes and she knows, so she just nod. Satan was a girl and she was the first child we had, and also she has a sister named Yuzu. Ichigo answer, and everyone was awestruck. When I die in a war with the three friction, I think someone informed me when I reincarnated again after 300 years and how I almost going almost on spree to kill all angel and fallen angel who was against me and the devil. Satan died that day when I almost on spree, and she was shocked to see me again. While her younger sister shocked also, but she didn't know me, so I on rampage to anything that day. Ichigo continued. Rias thinks that she was the fault, but I try convince her that she wasn't the fault of Ichigo's death and their daughters. But then Ichigo reincarnate again and gain his memories. SK said, and he gained attention from the others. But Rias dies and I didn't know how, but Ichigo at that time didn't and was late when she died. Everyone saddened about the story. Well, enough of that, let's go back to the meeting. Ichigo while the others let loose their tension. From this day Ichigo, my second harem, and Yama-kun also SK will be your new neighbor, just a few blocks from here. Ichigo said with smile on his face while the others surprised of his declare. How about me, Ichigo? Rias asked while looking Ichigo. Well, you can stay at your place which are here with your sons and also daughter-in-law. Also try not to creep out the house and went to my place, okay? Rias blushed and she knows why. That's settled. Ichigo then ordered his harem and Yama-kun and SK to start leaving, but, oh yeah, I almost forgot. Tomorrow I will be in Kuo Academy with a few my harem. And we meet again at your place, Rias. And now bye-bye. Ichigo then walk again and they went to their new home. Well, at least I got my old life again and what the new adventure will be, Rias thought as she sleep in slumber. XX line break XX Ichigo and half his harem were walking to school to only got stare, gossip to them and such by the students who were walking came to a stop. They were almost at the school gate to only get intense more and Ichigo knows why. When they were walking, Ichigo was walking with girls with huge burst that was jiggling up and down while walking. The girls was wearing the Kuo Academy that were black and white outline and a skirt just above their knees. While Ichigo wear the male version of them, Ichigo was wear the same outfit and with black pants with his infamous scowl face on. But when they passed through the school gate, all hell loose. The girls was scream, whispering to either that Ichigo has a girlfriend or as he is some kind of model or something. But the most disturbing was some of the girls were ing and Ichigo knows why. While the boys was like, Kiba Yuto but mature version of him or another pretty boy. Ichigo just death glare at them while his harem giggling. The girls were a bit different, some of them accept and some of them don't. Some of the air perverts some aren't. But when the perverts saw them, they were like wild animal and how pervert comments. The boys said, look at that opai, maybe that will be me in between them, or, the opai god has approved their prayer, and oh how hated Ichigo by this. So when they said that, Ichigo death glare them more until they were like, please don't eat my soul, or, all will not harm them if I would I kill myself, kinda face.
Well, this is interesting. There was the crimson hair girl aka Rias Grimori, or the girls call her Rias Sama, also the same as her best friend, or the queen. Akano Himahima, or called Akano Sama as well. The two was like the princess and the queen of the academy. Rias then walked towards Ichigo and his harem. Good morning Rias, or I might call you Rias Sama. Ichigo then bowed to her like he always joked around. Then he looked at Akano and smiled warmly and also bowed. Also meet my friends. Rias Akano, this is Orihime-chan, Tia-chan, Nel-chan, Ulki-chan, Grim-chan and also Byakuheim. Ichigo pointed each name his said. And then the girls bow and she also bow back. And also Byakuheim was a noble family at my old town, so be nice to her. And she also under my protection also with the other girls of mine. Ichigo smirk and the students was shocked of how Ichigo were under protection of his let alone 5 people at once. How he know Rias Sama and Akano Sama? Some of the girls were saying or thoughts the same thing and then they gasp, maybe Rias Sama and Akano Sama meet their destiny. Some of the girls were in fantasy of theirs of what could go after that, so Ichigo just shrugged all up. Well then let's get going. And also Ichigo, what are your classes and also the girls? Ichigo just smirk and just, it's a secret. And on cue the first bell ring and they went quickly to their own classes. XX line break XX. Well, this is unexpected again. There stood in front of classroom or the whole new transfer students. When they were introduced to each of them, the girls was some kind in fantasy when they heard each of single name of the girls, but when it comes to Ichigo they were like school fangirls and shouting of how firm yet protective that voice were and how monotone it was. Rias on the other hand was jealous to say at least, and how her best friend knows this and she would have some kinda a blackmail of some sort to make Rias jealous so easily. Okay, now the introduction is over. You guys may proceed your sitting and that will be at the back of the classroom. Please Miss Rias, can you raise your hand please and who you are? On cue Rias raise her hand as just told and they walk to Rias's place and either seat right, left, in front, at the back or maybe just 2 seats away from her. And the closest was Ichigo of course. Now turn to page. The class the starts it lesson and how boring it was say at least to Ichigo, while the girls was awestruck of how the teacher were teaching them. After that the rest time ring and the students went to the cafeteria and went for lunch. But for Ichigo, well, you could say that he was in the wall of girls in front of his desk. Ichigo, do you have a girlfriend? Can we eat some time together? Can I see your abs? That was disturbing to at least, but not so long after this question. Ichigo, are you a virgin? And that's Rias have enough of it, so she smash her desk and grab Ichigo by the collar of his uniform and order his harem to follow as well. The girls by the way was awestruck and they suddenly on their fantasies again, and let me tell you it was not good to say at least.
Well, someone is jealous, and after what thousands years ago you still have interchange of your jealously, and you somebody will be advantage of you with you getting jello? Ichigo was slapped by Rias, and how his harem saw this was shocking to them. Jealous, huh? That what you gonna say, jealous, after what you did and you were playing with me, I have you will have another woe? Rias was cut off by Ichigo with embrace, and tightly his embrace, that even he was playing with her, even she was jealous to other girls. Ichigo still love her and Rias knows that, but why she can't accept that? I was joking, okay, I was. I'm sorry, okay, and I may jerk to you sometime, okay, so please give me another chance and I'll make up to you. Deal? Rias was almost in tears of how awful she was for slapping Ichigo hard. I'm sorry for slapping you. I'm sorry about the burst rage, and I know how you would like to tease me with your antics, so yeah, I give you another chance, and this will be the final chance you get. Got it? Ichigo nod, and so she kissed Ichigo in the cheek while the girls was jealous, so Rias went to them and kiss each of them on the cheek also. Ichigo did the same and they were delighted. Let's go, the rest time gonna finish, and let's go back to Cal's room, okay? On cue the bell rang and they went they. But unknown to them there were two pairs of eye watching them from the start. But also unknown to them that Ichigo know they were there, but he don't want to scare Rias, so he played along and the plan went perfectly. XX line break XX, ring. The final school bell rang and it time for club activities or such. Some of the student went home, some went to arcade game or such to let cool down from their stress school work. But some of them are at school for the club activity, and or maybe some of them were studying at the L library school. Rias, are you going to your club? Ask Ichigo ask while the girls behind Ichigo. Yes, I am, and I take that you all are the new member? Ichigo nod.
Well, the follow me. Ria then start walking to their club room at the old building.
While they are walking to the destination, some of the girls try to question Ichigo and Rias about their love story and how did they meet. Well, Rias-chan, when did you meet Ichigo-sama? Asked Tia to Rias, and she was thinking of how they first met. Well, if I remember correctly, Ichigo was injured at the time, so I find him on near lake covered by blood, and I remember he said something about angel, war between human and such. After few years, he and me met again, but it was coincidence, but Ichigo was the first try to talk to me. At that time everyone called me a witch, or such, so Ichigo offered me a shelter at his mansion and I was alone at that time, but Ichigo treat like a person rather a trash. After a few years again, he proposed to me after he got in a war again. The girls was surprised of how the story goes from good to bad to worst. Well, enough about me. We hear now. They were so much in detail about the story until they didn't know they were in front of the door club room. Rias knocked the door and the door opened to see Akano, and so they went in and Rias then went back behind covered curtain and she started to have a shower. Everyone was either sitting, drinking that was provided by Akano or eating something in the club room.
Well, everyone turned their attention to Akano, who the first tried to join the harem. Oraim raise her hand and Akano nod, and how her material would be nice as well.
Then they heard a knock and Ano go to the door and open it to see a first-year girl, Kaneko Taju, with Asia Argento. Well, hello there, Kaneko-chan, Asia-chan, come on in then. They went in and got a greet by Ichigo and his girls. Well, this is new, and I take that you are a freshman? Ichigo asked to Kaneko, who just nod. And hello there, Asia-chan, it's good to see you again. Ichigo smiled at her and she just bowed to hide her blushed. Well, come on and have some tea. But then the door knocked again, but opened by a boy second year, Issei Hyodo and Kiba Yuto. The boys was either surprised and shocked, not only they meet Ichigo again, but they also meet at school. The end. Now we will see you in the next video.